Welcome everybody to our BNI Talks webinar. My name is Steve Tenuzzo, your host, and today I've got Mychelle Garrigan. And Mychelle is going to talk all about the Google profile and how important it is for your search engine optimization. Mychelle, thanks for being on today. I know you're a little bit under the weather, but here you are, ready to go. And why don't I turn it over to you so you can start helping out these great members to learn about how SEO works related to the Google profile. And as we always say before we start this, if you've got someone in your chapter who does this, do a one-to-one with them and give them some business. And if you don't have someone, who's got Mychelle here who can help you out as well.
Yep.
And you'll get her contact info right at the end.
We can do an online one-to-one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, take it away, Mychelle.
Well, thank you, Steve. And as Steve mentioned, yeah, I actually hurt my back. So if anytime during this you see me grimace, just ignore it. It has nothing to do with all of you. So I'm here today to talk about your Google business profile. So a little bit about me. First of all, I've been a member of BNI for 3 years, and I'm currently in my second term as vice president of the BNI Professional Partners chapter in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And with my business, Firelink Digital Marketing, I basically work with small, medium-sized businesses and a lot of nonprofit organizations, helping them with their digital strategies, whether that's WordPress website design, local SEO, content marketing, and social media strategy. So today, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk to you about Google Business Profile. So Google Business Profile used to be known as Google My Business. So sometimes you'll see people still refer to it that way, or you'll see them use the acronym GMB. So it's now GBP. So the great thing about the Google Business Profile, like a lot of other Google tools, is it's completely free to use. And among SEOs, it's considered one of the top factors in helping your site rank higher. So it's a really critical part of any, I don't want to say not just a local SEO plan, it's a critical factor of even larger geographical areas plans, because it allows you to do a lot of different things within the Google universe. So just some profile statistics to give you an idea. So the first statistic I think is really relevant, and I was just talking to Steve about this before we came on. Only about 44% of local businesses have even claimed their listing. So a lot of businesses out there don't have a Google Business Profile set up, or maybe they have it set up, but it's really not been filled out completely. It's not been optimized, and it's really not helping them. And that's relevant to you because if those businesses are your competition, you have a leg up on them if you fill it out. Or, it's relevant if you haven't done yours and then you go to your competition and their Google Business Profile is amazing. So another important set of statistics is that about 70% of consumers say they visit a store because of information that they found online. 64% have used Google Business Profiles to find contact details for a local business, which means they're looking for contact details in order to visit that business or call it or go to their website. 88% of people read reviews for local businesses before they choose to buy a service or product. And a lot of people forget that Google's not the only search engine that exists. There are several others, but Google does have about 90% of the market share. So it's definitely the one, if you don't have time to do, kind of work on all of them, Google's the one you really want to focus on. So some other statistics that are relevant. When you look at a Google Business Profile, 56% are clicks, or I'm sorry, 56% of actions are clicks to go to your website. And why that's important is it's telling you that more than half of the people who come to a Google Business Profile are going to read it, review it, and go, okay, I want to continue my journey and understanding about this business to see if I want to become a customer. So they're going to your website. And the average business gets about 59 actions on a Google Business Profile each month. Now, that doesn't mean if you sign up and do your profile today, you're going to get 59 a month. Again, that's the average. Some are going to get less, some are going to get a lot more. But it does tell you that businesses that have a well-done Google Business Profile they get activity. They have people coming. And when I say action, that could be a website click. It could be a click to call your phone number. It could be a click to message you, to ask more information, or it could be a click on the little directions buttons, so they see your business and say, okay, that's what I want. Google, tell me how to get there. I'm in my car right now. So some other benefits, obviously, as I mentioned, it's definitely an SEO boost for your website. It helps you appear in maps. So again, when people are looking for a local business, that appearance in the map really helps. It adds to your visibility because when you have a Google business profile, that's one more area on the, like what we call the search engine results page. It's one more area that you're going to appear. So your website might appear in like the regular organic results on the page, and then it's also going to show up in the map pack. It is a great place for you to collect reviews. And the more reviews you have, again, that's a ranking factor. It's also great, and this is something people don't think about a lot, but like most properties like this, it comes with analytical data. So you can go into what's called insights and see, how many people are coming to your page, how many people are clicking on the message button or the phone button, or how many people are clicking to go to your website. And that's really useful data if you're trying to develop a marketing plan. It's also a great place to advertise, specials, products. For restaurants, you'd have menu items. If you do any types of events, you can post them there. And that's another thing that's often not realized about Google Business Profile. It's not just something that you set and forget. You can actually use it like a regular social media account. So if you're posting about special events on Facebook, you should also be posting them on your Google Business Profile. It also provides something that we call social proof, which basically just means it's one more way to demonstrate that your business exists and that it's a trustworthy business because you've got reviews, you've got information. It's clear if somebody looks at it that, yeah, this is a valid business and I want to contact them about, hiring them for a service or buying a product. And as I mentioned, it's amazing how much stuff Google's providing for free. So on a Google Business Profile, you'll get the free messaging options. There's a request for quote option you can use, the click on the link to call you, free directions to your store. And then you can also include calls to actions, which we have the acronym CTA. So things like, on a special buy now or sign up for an event and so on. So now I want to talk a little bit about how to set it up. I'm not going to go deep into the specifics of setting up the profile because it's a little bit different for every business. Google has kind of changed it up a bit in the last year or two. Even like where it exists now on the page is a little bit different. It used to be there was a dashboard and now you have to edit right from the map. And now they have different methods of verification. So if you're having trouble getting set up, I would say at the end, you'll have my email. Just shoot me an email and I can help you with that. But for most businesses, basically the way to set it up, you go to the Google link that I have there. It'll walk you through how to create the profile. It's really easy. When you type in the name of your business, sometimes a business will already be listed, you can go ahead and claim it. Or when you're typing in your name, it doesn't show up, then you can go ahead and create a new one. So now if you see it already exists, sometimes it'll say that it's verified and managed. And there's various reasons why that happens, but you can still go ahead and request ownership by going to it. There's an option where you can click claim the business. And then there's a form they'll ask you to fill out to request access to the profile. So you go through it, you fill out all the information, and then you're going to have to verify that you own the business. So there's a couple different methods. One is Google will mail you a postcard. It usually takes about 5 to 10 days to get the card, and there'll be like a little code on it. You go back to your profile, you enter the code, and then you're done. Google now has more options for that, where you can also do a phone or text option or email. It's only available to some profiles. Another one that they have now that's fairly new is video verification, where you actually use your cell phone camera. And they may ask you to show things like a copy of your business license or, pan the camera around like your place of business, Or if you don't have like a physical location, for example, say you're like an electrician and you're just getting started. So maybe you just have your truck and your tools. They might have you like, pan the camera over the truck and over all your different electrical tools. So again, it's a little bit different for any business. The other way sometimes you can verify is if you have a Google Search Console already set up for the website. Sometimes Google will let you verify it that way. So again, like I said, it's a little bit different. If you're having issues, just shoot me an email and kind of walk you through how to do it for your business. So for the rest of this, what I want to talk about is optimizing your profile. We're going to go through each of the different areas on the profile, because what I often find is more often than not, when I talk to businesses, they haven't even like tried to attempt to set one up. But then the ones that have set them up, they basically put in their contact information and maybe a picture, maybe their logo, and then that's it. The key to having a Google business profile that really works for you is to fully optimize it. It's to fill everything out. So the first thing is your business information, and you want to make sure that all of your contact information is correct. You'd be surprised a lot of times how it's not. Also, make sure when you use your business name, it's your real business name. It's the name on your, your state certification or your business license or whatever. Don't stuff keywords into your business. For example, you might see, let's see, an example. So I'm in Sioux Falls Plumbing. That's actually the name of this. But sometimes you'll people do Sioux Falls Plumbing, and I can't think of a plumbing term, but they would add like different terms behind the name, and that's not the name of the business. Or you might see a business where it's like Bob's Locksmith, and they'll add Bob's Locksmith Sioux Falls. Don't add city names, don't add keywords unless they're part of the business, because eventually Google will see that and they'll flag it and they'll suspend your profile. And I know you may come back to me and say, well, my competitor does that and they haven't gotten suspended. Maybe not, because it takes Google a while to find things out, but eventually they will be. So it's better to just not go there. The next thing you want to do is when you put in your address, you'll see the map with the pin. If it looks wrong, you can actually click it and move it. You want to make sure it's there where it should match. Another issue, some people use what's called call tracking, and that's basically a way of gathering data on phone calls that come in to see, where the phone call's coming from, like where's your best lead source. If you do this, which is a great service, use your actual phone number. You don't want to have a separate call tracking number there. And if you use call tracking properly, you can actually, there's ways you link it to your primary business number, because again, Google's going to be looking at this. And if the number is not correct, it can actually penalize you for that. Another thing you want to do is there's a feature called special attributes. Make sure you fill that out if they apply to you. Some examples of attributes, there's different ones for like, if you're in a business that's accessible for people with disabilities, depending on your business, there might be, for example, hotels. There's different amenities that you can check, like pet friendly. Restaurants have the ability to add attributes for different types of dining options, like do you accept reservations? Some attributes are like if different languages are spoken at your business, if you take different types of payments, like credit card or cash or Bitcoin. And then another type of attributes is there are ones like about the owner. For example, there's a woman-owned attribute, there's a Black-owned attribute, there's a vet-owned one. I think there's a few others like that. So if any of those apply to you, definitely fill those out. And very last, make sure you add your social media. A lot of times when I see profiles, they don't have links to their social media. But again, those are all like social signals that help boost up the profile. So it's worth it to spend the extra couple minutes to add them. So once you've done all that, you want to choose your category. And this is important because you want to make sure that the primary category is correct. You do get to add up to 9, but the first category should be the most important one to your business. So for example, if you're somebody who, I'll give an example like me, I do a lot of different things for digital marketing. And let's say the most important thing to me is doing websites. If I had my categories, I wouldn't want to choose SEO as my primary. I'd want to choose websites. I'd still want SEO in my categories in the 9, but I wouldn't want it to be the top one because most of my business would be websites. The thing to know too about categories is Google can be very annoying. They can go in, they can review your categories. Sometimes they'll remove them. Sometimes they change them. Sometimes too, they'll suggest ones to you, and you'll get these emails saying, we think this should be added to your profile. And I think a lot of times the urge is, oh, this is an annoying spam email, and you just, you ignore it, you delete it. Make sure you answer those, because I've had ones where they've come to me and said, we think this should be added to your categories, and it's something I do not do. And if I don't respond to it, they'll add it. Another thing too about Google is, like I said, they regularly will update categories. So sometimes you might have a category there that fits with you, and they'll either change the name or they'll add something in that's even better. So I would say, make it a habit, maybe every couple of months, go in there and check and make sure that the categories are all still good. Are there ones they've added that maybe fit you better, and there's some that you can delete? And I included that link down there. Sterling Sky, they're a really good SEO source. They have a regularly updated list of all of the Google business categories. Now, one tip for this, if you are in a competitive field, I would always say, check out what your competitors are using as their category, because you want to match. Well, depending on your circumstances, you either want to match what their main category is to kind of go head to head, or maybe you see their main category and go, okay, they've got the market share for that type of plumbing. I think I will, use a different type. So I'm going to use another category for mine. So this link here, GMB Spy, actually they need to change that to GPB Spy, but this is a Chrome extension. It's free, and you can actually use it to see what your competitors use. There's another way to do it where you actually have to look at the source code, but that's a lot more complicated to explain to people, unless you know how to do coding. But this little extension works pretty well.
Mychelle, before we move forward, there's a bunch of questions about home-based businesses, and they don't want their house to be showing all that. How do we handle that if you're a home-based business?
So basically, you will have to add your address in order to get the verification postcard, and your listing will not be visible until it's verified. So once it's verified, you can choose to make your business what's called a service area business, and then you can hide your address. So for example, I work from home. My Google business profile is a service area business, but I had to put my address in to get the postcard to set it up. And then once it was verified, I removed my address. And yeah, there are tons of businesses that are service areas businesses. And I've heard it said, erroneously a lot of times, like you can only have a Google business profile if you have a brick and mortar business. That's not true. You can definitely have them if you're home based.
Great. Okay, thanks for that.
Yep, that's a good question. So, okay, going on to the website field. Now, you don't necessarily have to put your, main website address here. Sometimes you might be in a situation where adding a different page works better for you. For example, if you are like a service-based business where you have a page on your website where you list out all your services, and on that page there's like a, click to request quote or click to hire, you could put that link in instead. So I would always say, look at the pages on your site and figure out which one is the one that's most likely to convert people to become buyers, and put that link there. And sometimes it's not, sometimes it is the regular, normal like URL, but sometimes it's not. And this one, I'm not going to go into specifics because it's, again, it bears a lot of explanation how to do it, but there's something called UTM links. Basically, these are links that it's links to your site that contain additional code at the end of the link. And it tells you where the link is coming from. So it could be, if say you're doing a campaign on a couple different social media accounts and you're doing it on your Google business profile, and maybe you're doing it on an email list, by adding these links, if you're using a program like Google Analytics, it'll come in, when it comes into analytics, it'll tell you, like 10 people came from the Google business profile and 20 people came from the Facebook campaign. And that's, again, you don't have to use them, But if you're really into data and Google Analytics, I definitely would say, consider using those on your website link in the Google Business Profile. So now, business description. This is a big one. You have 750 characters to say everything you can to sell people on visiting your business and using your services or buying your products. And so many times I go to Google Business Profiles, it's either not filled out or maybe there's like a sentence or two. Use all 750 characters. It's there for you. So, think about, what are relevant keywords? And again, don't stuff keywords, use them naturally, but, to see what things, and again, you want to look at your competitors, see what they have written, but everything you can talk about at your business, this is your place to say, this is why you should come and hire me for whatever it is that you need. And this is info, it doesn't change. So you could put things in here about like your history, your mission, the types of products you have, but anything that changes, like for example, say you're having a sale or an event coming up, that's not information you'd want to put in here unless you know that you're doing it and you're going to give yourself a reminder to go back and update it. You can put it in there. Business hours. Important to make sure these are correct. Update them as you need to. A lot of times I see people, and this happens with a lot of service area, like home-based businesses, they'll put open 24 hours. Don't do that because you're not, unless you are, But for example, like me, like obviously I work at home. I have actual like business hours on there because I don't want people thinking, oh, well, I can just call her 24 hours a day because I don't work 24 hours a day. And I think it also looks weird to people. So put your actual legitimate working hours. And then if you offer holiday hours or special hours, or for example, here in Sioux Falls, we've had a ridiculous amount of snow this past winter. People were going in and entering in like shortened or delayed hours because of late start for school or closing early because of inclement weather. Definitely make sure your business hours are always correct because you don't want somebody to like show up at your business and you're closed and the hours that were posted there were, incorrect, because that could lead them to be cranky and leave you a review. And you don't want that to happen. And plus you want your customers to be happy. So now images. Images are really important because they encourage people to look at your profile. It's important to include images that will make people want to, come visit your business or hire your service. So if you have a brick and mortar location, make sure you take tons of pictures of the inside and the outside of the building. Like if you happen to have nice landscaping, or if, for example, like a restaurant, if you have like a patio area, including pictures of like products and services, which is a little hard to do with services, but say like you're an auto mechanic, you could have pictures of, your staff working on a car. That's a good service. You could have pictures of like all the different types of products you sell. If you are a business that really, works on kind of a team atmosphere, include pictures of your staff. If you're a nonprofit, you include pictures of your volunteers. Pictures of happy customers is awesome. Of course, you have to ask them if they're okay with that, but that is definitely a selling point. I'd also include pictures related to if you ever get like awards for anything, or any types of certifications, or even like a new license, or say you're a real estate agent and you just got a new certification in a different, like some type of specialty, I would include a picture of that. If you hold events, definitely including pictures of events, happy people enjoying your event. And another thing you can do is it's called a 360-degree tour picture of the facility. That's a great thing to add because again, it encourages people to want to visit your place. Also, make sure when you upload your logo, it's a high quality file. Don't upload a low res photo. I see that all the time. It doesn't look good. And your cover photo is definitely something you want to think about. It should represent your business. Now, the thing to know about cover photos is sometimes Google will decide it doesn't like your cover photo and change it to something else. It's something to keep your eye on because the thing they change it to might not be something that you like, or it might be something where you're like, wow, that actually is better. And the thing to realize too about the Google Business Profile is customers can load up photos as well. So a customer might load up a photo and maybe it's a photo, of them smiling with your staff. and Google makes that your cover photo, you might look at it and go, wow, that's actually a great photo. But it's definitely, if you notice that your photo has changed and you're wondering why, it's because Google thinks they know better. Also, make sure your photos have the right specs. They don't need to be larger than 5 megabytes. They definitely should have a decent resolution. Don't use filters or modifications or anything like that. That can actually downgrade your account because Google doesn't like it, and it also just doesn't look good. And then another thing you can add related is video. I love video. I try to get all my clients to use video. They never want to do it because nobody wants to be in front of camera, but video is so powerful for getting people to come and want to use your service, because it's a way for people to get to know you and see, like, yeah, that's somebody who seems honest, they seem trustworthy, I think I want to patronize their business. So you could do video where it's you or your staff talking about the business, or if your clients are amenable, you could ask clients to do a video where they talk about how happy they are about your service. Never use stock video or video that's not really relevant. Don't use things like memes or stuff, anything. You only want stuff that's going to make your business look good. And then again, with video, it can't be longer than 30 seconds. The file can't be larger than 75 megabytes. And it definitely should have at least 720p resolution so it looks good. So as I mentioned, here's a couple more video ideas from the few. You could do a video walkthrough if you have a brick and mortar place. A welcome video is a great video. It could be by you or with your staff or volunteers if you're a nonprofit. A video where you talk about how you formed the business, or like what problem you were trying to solve when you created it. If you're doing an event, you or a staff person talking about the event. If you have products or services that you want to highlight, you could do a video about that. Again, video reviews, or FAQ videos. Take those questions that people normally ask you and post a video answering them. And again, the thing about these videos too is realize you can repurpose them. You can use them on your website. You can use them on your social media. Don't just feel like, well, I'm just making them for this. You can spread them around.
I think, Mychelle, this is like the thing for 2023. You have to have some video content, or you're gonna. I think Google is indexing for video now, especially if you're doing something like YouTube Shorts or anything that can be found. I think this is super important to upload to your profile.
And I think I'll mention this. Like I said, I always tell people to do video, and most of the times my clients are like, "No, I don't want to be on camera," or I need to hire a videographer. They've done marketing research which have shown that people react better to a video that seems real and authentic to one that's all slick with amazing production values, because again, you're establishing that personal connection. So don't feel like, oh, I have to have my hair done, or I have to have like this famous expensive videographer. Just do it. Even like this, like me doing this, like I'm not looking amazing right now, but you're getting a sense of who I am, and you might be like, yeah, I like her and I want to hire her. So if you've thought about doing video and you're just not sure, or you're just like, you're waiting for something to make it perfect, just go ahead and do it. And the first couple times it'll probably be painful, but it gets better. So one big thing to mention about photos and video is that Google has a content policy. So Google doesn't like stock photos and GIFs. Definitely do not use photos or video that you do not have a license or permission to use. Don't use screenshots. Avoid using filters. Make sure that all the photos and videos are good quality. They do also tend to not like, you can use text overlays, but try to keep it to less than 10% of the space. But the thing in particular about the content is you got to make sure that it doesn't include anything that would fall into prohibited content. And that's things like, adult themed stuff, sexually explicit, things that might be considered dangerous, things that might be considered irrelevant is a big one, spam, the whole misinformation thing. And you would think, okay, well, that doesn't really apply to me. Like, why is that important? But because a lot of this is done by artificial intelligence, I have seen stuff flagged that in no way like is part of this content policy. Unless you look at it from like the most like minute way, you could say, okay, yeah, maybe. So, and I'll give you an example. I have a friend who runs a tattoo and piercing shop, and their images kept getting flagged. And the images that were getting flagged was just of like some teenage girls with their brand new ear piercings. But because the algorithm going through, they saw that as like pictures of body parts. So all his photos kept getting flagged. And then we had an issue with the Google business profile. So this is not likely to happen to you, but it's something, just keep it, top of mind. If you see anything in a video or photo where it just even remotely seems sketchy, don't include it. And then if you do get a notice saying you violated the content policy, actually, now I just thought of another example. I have a friend who's a chiropractor, and he gets this a lot too, because he'll include pictures of x-rays or, again, like maybe just a picture of someone's back, and they look at that as, well, it's a body part, it might be sexual content. I know it's weird, but it happens. Another thing I'll mention about photos. So it used to be, and it still is, I see people talk about, make sure you take photos in the locations where you're doing the business. For example, say you're a roofer, take a picture of the roof while you're at that person's, home. And then that geotag data, it helps, to establish like your search area. That's actually a myth. Geotagging photos doesn't really help you at all. Really not necessary to do that. So moving along, products and services, and I'm getting short in time. So as we mentioned before, service businesses, you do not have to have a brick and mortar location. And the cool thing is, you can describe each of your services in detail. You have a maximum of 1,000 characters. If you are a business that sells products, there's a whole area called products where you can actually showcase them, almost like an e-commerce site kind of. So you can include photos, you can include information, you can include a button with each one, click here to purchase, which will go to your website, or click to call if they want to call and talk to you about it. And a lot of these features, they only show up depending on what your category is. So for example, if you're a hotel or a casino, there's a whole host of features where you can add information that would not show up to somebody like me who does digital marketing. But if you are one of those types of businesses and you see that stuff, make sure it's all filled out. And actually, when I mention this, I have a statistic by another company called White Spark, which is a big SEO company. They did a survey and found that only 4% of businesses that they worked with used this option and filled it out. So don't be one of the 4%. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Don't be one of the 96%. Be in the 4% that fills it out. I can't do math today. Now, one of the big benefits of the Google Business Profile is reviews. Reviews help you not only rank, but they help people want to buy your service, because if they see people who are happy with your service and they recommend it, they're likely to, use the service themselves. Important things to know about these reviews: make sure you respond to every review, and make sure you respond timely. And when I say timely, I mean, if you respond like a couple days, a week, that's fine, but don't wait like 6 months and go back and say thank you to every review. Also respond to negative reviews. And I know it's tough to do that, but it's really important to respond to them in a positive way, professionally. Hey, we're sorry, had a problem with their service, please contact us, to remedy this or whatever. Don't ever respond negatively or get into a fight, because when you're responding to a bad review, realize that the audience for your response is not that person you're responding to. It's everybody else who's going to come to your Google Business Profile and think about hiring you. So a lot of times people will freak out when they get a negative review, like, oh my God, my business is ruined. But it's really not. If people see you responding professionally and they see a host of other positive reviews, they're more likely to go, yeah, this person looks professional. And, everybody gets bad reviews sometimes. And so I'll add into that. There's also been marketing research done where they found that people found a company that had like a 4.5 or 4.8 more positively than one that had like a 5, like all 5-star reviews. And I think it's because they look at a company that has all 5-star reviews and think, well, I bet some of those, maybe they're fake, or maybe it's their friend, or like nobody gets 5-star, like all 5-star reviews. So if you end up with like a 4.5 or a 4.7 or whatnot because of 1 or 2 negative reviews, yeah, don't worry about it. You're good. And again, if you have like all 5 stars, if you're thinking, oh my God, well now I only have 5. If I don't look like I'm trustworthy, you're fine. It's more that, if it goes down a little bit, don't worry about it so much. And what you do is go out and solicit more reviews to bring that average up. And one big part of this, so everybody talks about, at least with me and my clients, it's so hard to get people to write reviews. And I agree, it is tough. The thing about it is, first you have to understand most people, it's not that they don't want to write a review. It's just, they get busy, they forget. I know it's happened to me where I had great service and I thought, okay, I'm definitely going to write a review. And then I got home and I forgot. So, make it a habit of regularly contacting your clients to say, hey, be great for you if you wrote a review, and explain to them why. What I've found is if you tell them, it's not just a matter of, it's great to have a review, but it helps me rank better with Google. It helps my business show up on search. It helps other clients, who or potential clients look at the reviews and decide to hire me. I think people are more likely to go, oh, okay, this is not just like some vanity thing. Me writing a review actually helps your business. And the other thing I say is make it super, super easy for people to do it. And so what I do, and I have a link here, you can definitely like steal my idea. I stole it from someone else. And if I remembered their name, I would give them credit. But what I do is I have a page. And right now I'm redoing my site. So it's not on my site. So I have it as a Google Doc. But I just send them this Google Doc. And in it, I thank them for writing me a review. I explain to them why it's important. And then I include bullet points. These are the things you could talk about. You could mention, website design, SEO, these are the qualities I'd like you to talk about with me. And then I give them the direct links to go to get to the reviews. This makes it really, really easy for people. They get the document. It's like, okay, great. I can click on this. I can write my review and boom, I'm done. And other things you can do, like having QR codes around your business, having it in your signatures and your emails, regularly posting it on your social media. Realize, reviews, it's a long-term process to get them. But if you continuously ask for them, and you explain people why, and you make it super easy, you should start to get them. And one more thing I will mention, never ever offer incentives to write reviews, like entering them in a contest or giving them a discount, because this actually violates Google's guidelines. And, depending on where you post it, maybe Google will never see it, but maybe a competitor will report it, or maybe they will see it. It just, don't do it. It's not a good idea. Some other don'ts. As I said, you can't offer a reward or a bribe to a customer to remove a review. So sometimes people will see a bad review and say, I will give you a discount if you take the review off, or if you don't take the review off, I'm going to contact my lawyer. Don't do that. Don't review your own business. I think that goes without saying. Don't have your employees review your own business. Now, if you see negative reviews from ex-employees, those are actually, you can get Google to remove them. And also do not do fake reviews of other businesses, particularly competitor businesses. In general, even though it seems like you're not going to get caught, you eventually will, because Google has a way. So I'm going to move real fast now. So specific features, I mentioned this before, depending on the type of business you have, there are a lot of specific things that you can add. For example, restaurants, there's a menu editor where they can actually add menu items. Hotels can add amenities. Retail stores, there's a software called Pointy that you can use that actually will integrate with your point of service systems right at your store. Events can add ticket admission details. Excuse me. And then customer engagement. There's a chat feature that you can turn on so customers can chat you and those notifications will come to you via email. You can also use what's called the Google Assistant, and this allows customers to call you directly from the profile. Some businesses have the option to do online booking, which right now that's only available in the US. And then restaurants can also set it up where you can check like waiting times. And then, okay, this is a big one. Questions and answers. There is a little FAQ section that's there. And I find most people don't fill this out because they're waiting for the public to ask a question. You do not have to wait for anybody to ask a question. You can go into the front end, ask all your FAQs yourself, then go into the back end and answer them. This is an amazing way to like feature more information at your business. And most people don't use it because I think they're waiting for like customers to ask them. And then if customers do ask questions, make sure you answer them in a timely manner. So as I mentioned, you can use your Google Business Profile like a social media account. You can post all sorts of things about your business, product reviews, new specials, events, FAQs. These posts, they stay up for 7 days and then they're moved under a separate area on the site. But definitely anytime, if you have a plan where you're posting like Facebook or Instagram or YouTube, make sure you include Google Business Profile in your list of places where you regularly post. And these are examples of some other things you can add. So as I mentioned, it's really important to, go in and update it regularly. Maybe that's weekly, maybe that's monthly. It really depends on your business. You want to create a posting schedule that makes sense for you. Don't create something where you have to post like so often that it just becomes overwhelming. I also really recommend setting up Google Analytics and Google Search Console because it helps you to analyze that data a little bit better. Some resources I have on this next slide. Google has a free marketing kit that has all sorts of things you can download to use to market your Google Business Profile, including like templates for social media and like little posters and things for your stores. The review checker, you can use to check reviews. If you want to build those UTM links, there's that URL builder. And then Google Analytics and Google Search Console. And then I highly recommend Poobler. It's a social media posting app, kind of like Hootsuite, if you're familiar with that. I really like Poobler because I just really like the interface, and I can set it up to post to Google Business Profile as well as like Facebook and Instagram. And I think the price point for Poobler is way better than like Hootsuite and some of these others that have just gotten really, really expensive. And finally, this is my contact info. Like I said, you have a question, feel free to email me, meet me up on LinkedIn. And I do have a special on my website. You can get 20% off my Google Business Profile setup services. If you've gone through this whole like slideshow and you're like, yeah, that's too much work, I don't want to do it, you can definitely hire somebody like me to do it. Or just contact me. We'd be happy to do a one-on-one. And I'll turn it back to you, Steve.
Okay, well, first off, I'm glad I made it back. I was offline for about 5 minutes. I lost power.
I saw you drop off.
I was just gone. And of course, my Wi-Fi hotspot was not connecting, so that's great. But luckily, I made it back in time, so that's a good thing. All right, so we've got a bunch of questions in Q&A. We'll try to get as many as possible. While I was offline, example review links that you might have, and can you post it in the chat? 3 people asked that question.
Can you say it again? Because you got cut.
Yeah, example reviews, a link that you would have from your website. Does that sound familiar?
Yes. I wonder if I can post that in chat. Hold on. I think I'll find it.
In the meantime, I'll look for another question as we do that. Let's see. Can you please address reviews given not showing up in the feed when they have followed Google's guidelines?
Yeah, so that is a good question. That happens a lot. It started happening around COVID, and I think part of it was because the system got like completely overwhelmed because everybody was transitioning to online. So Google in the past few months of last year had said that was fixed. I have not experienced that it's fixed. That's still happening. So what I always tell people is when I ask them to write a review, to write the review first in like Word or Google Doc, just in case they do disappear, because that does seem to keep happening. What you can do too is ask them to try posting from a different account. what I have found is, like, sometimes people have left me, because a lot of my clients are businesses, when they left me a review from their business Google account, it didn't show. But then when they went with their personal and they posted it, it showed up. So like I said, the reasons behind it, no one really knows. Google says they're working on it. I always say, you know, as a safety, make sure that you tell your people, you know, like, have a backup and then try it from a different a Gmail or Google account.
Great. All right, let's see. Oh, Lisa's got a little crisis here. Looking at her Google business page, I noticed some of my photos were flagged, and now I'm not able to add products. What do I do?
Have you tried deleting the photos? If you delete them, you should be able to add products. If not, go ahead and delete the photos, and then when you go into the back end of your Google dashboard, you will see an area for support. And that was something, there's a form that you can fill out where it'll go to Google Business Profile and the review, and usually it takes them like a week or two to get back to you, unfortunately. But if you can't find where to go, like I said, shoot me an email and I can do a screenshot and show you where to go. That's something where you have to, unfortunately, go through Google. But that goes back to what I was saying about those. Like, I've seen photos and videos flagged for, like, they'll say it's their content policy, and you look at them and you're like, they seem perfectly fine. And it's some weird thing with the AI. It just decides, like, this isn't appropriate.
Okay, Rhonda says, I have had multiple reviews not display, and I do not know how to troubleshoot it. It's frustrating for the client and for the business to request that they submit again. Any recommendations?
Yeah, I know. Unfortunately, we're kind of at Google's mercy. Like I said, make sure when you ask clients to keep a copy of the review and then try posting it from a different account. Usually when I've had people post from a different account, that's worked. But I know it's a huge hassle. It's kind of really annoying.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. I had heard in a previous Google training that giving clients a direct link was not a good idea, best for them to do an organic search. How has that changed?
A direct link, can you be more specific? A direct link for what?
Giving clients a direct link was bad. Best for them to, I'm not sure where we were in that. Carlos, can you clarify that one? Well, in the meantime, we'll go on to another question.
And I'm posting my example of how to ask for a review link right now in the chat.
Okay, great. I just found it. Great, and you should advance to the to your Q&A, which has got your contact info on it.
Yep, I'll go back to that now.
If you have two businesses that feed or help each other, can we mention one business in the other business's profile?
Yeah, you could mention them in the description. You could do a post about them. You can, yeah, definitely you could do posts about them. You could do them in the description.
Yeah, especially if they're related. I think if they're unrelated, then that's a problem, right? Because you're kind of, so far apart.
Okay, I see now in the chat. So a direct link to write a review. Yeah, you can absolutely give them a direct link. And that's actually what I do on that example thing. I give them, because sometimes it's hard for people to find your profile, but if you log into your admin area for the Google Business Profile, you'll actually see an area where they'll generate a direct link to the review area, and you just give that to them.
Okay, great. Let's see. Everyone's asking about getting all of these links and things. So you're going to get email Mychelle directly, and she will send you out a copy of the PowerPoint. All right. And for those of you who are driving around or can't see your screen, it's Mychelle with a Y, MYCHELLE at firelinkdigital.com.
Yep. I just posted the example again.
Oh, I missed this one. So what was the name of the scheduling app? She missed it.
Publer, Publer, and I believe the website is publer.io.
Okay. Marissa's asking, where do we add social media? She can't see it on her screen.
It's in the it's in the business information dashboard. And that's when I'd have to pull it up. I could take, if you want, send me an email and I'll send you a screenshot.
Great.
Yes, I'm looking at the questions now. Yes, GBP didn't replace GMB, they just renamed it. So it's the same thing, and then they
Just kind of
changed it
rebrand
a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
They have my email in the chat. Yes, I will do that.
Okay.
Sure.
Let's see. How about this one? I know how to post photos, but I'm having trouble finding where to post the post videos. So is videos a separate section, or is it in the photo section?
No, it's in the post section.
In the post section. Great. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Using a direct link. Oh, that's Carlos again. Right. I think we answered his question.
And something I'll mention that I think it's probably confusing, because when you're in there, you'll see there's like a button that says like upload or post photos. If you click on that, then you'll see the video option.
Mm-hmm. Great.
It's kind of like on your phone, like when you're posting on Facebook, you know, when you go to click on it for the image, and then you'll see photo or video.
Right. Okay, here's another concern, and that's about reviews. I had 30 reviews 8 months ago. Overnight, they were reduced to 16. I've been in the health insurance industry for 23 years. And I've never had a negative review. Why would they just remove almost half of my 5-star reviews with no explanation?
Again, it's the Google AI software. It might have gone through. It might have flagged them for some reason. It might have decided they were fake reviews. They might have thought they were spam. It's again one of those things where you're kind of at Google's mercy. But if you submit, if you go into the support and submit an appeal, you could at least have them look into it.
Yeah, one of the things I know,
you're not alone. That happens to a lot of people.
Right. One of the things I've been told is that you can't, if you haven't had any reviews, or you only had like 3, and then suddenly 25 show up overnight, they're going to flag that.
Yeah. Yes, that is true. And again, it's all like an algorithm is like looking at it. So if a person was looking at it, they might be like, oh, okay, maybe it's a new business. They're getting a bunch of new reviews. But the computer is looking at it and going, oh, this looks like something like they bought reviews or they paid people for reviews. And it is super frustrating. I can say that.
Sharon's asking, you mentioned uploading a 360 photo. How do we do that? I was just taking a 360 photo with our phone. Is it just taking a photo with your phone, or is it something else, an app or something?
Some phones have the app, but if you go into the profile, there's actually a way it'll walk you through how to do that. And again, yeah, shoot me an email, because it's hard to explain without. I can do screenshots and show you where to go to do it.
Okay. Well, here's a fairly new question. Is it true that Google is not showing AI generated content?
Well, that's a controversial question. So no, they are, but I think that I definitely think Google wants to downplay AI generated content. And so as they continuously upgrade the algorithm, they are going to be looking for ways for the algorithm to determine like what is AI written, what isn't, and then push that above stuff written by humans. One of the ways they'll do that is there's something called EAT. It's an acronym. It's EEAT. So it's experience, education, authority, trustworthiness. So Google is looking for like signals on your website that like an actual person is behind it. So like, putting degrees and certifications, licenses, stuff like that. But I mean, you could have a website with that, still have AI written content. I don't think we're like AI content, I think, is here to stay. But I definitely think if you're somebody who like you're relying 100% on AI to write your content, that is in the long run going to hurt you. Because I do think that they'll be able to figure it out, whatever way the computer is able to do it. And I don't recommend having AI written content anyway. The problem is, like, as more people use that, you're going to have tons of content out there that's exactly the same. I think AI, though, is great for helping you write content. I've been using something for years called Phrase, where basically it'll help me generate an outline. So it makes it easier for me to write faster, but I would never like just take an AI written article and stick it on there. I think eventually that's going to hurt websites that do that.
Yeah, definitely seek out your friendly neighborhood
I'm going to ask. It's called Phrase. I think it's phrase.io.
Okay,
and there's a bunch of programs like Phrase. That Phrase is just the one I use. There's Surfer SEO. There's a bunch of them like that.